I haven't done a Zoe vlog in a week or so. So, again, I think today is the 3rd. I said that earlier. I'm pretty sure today is the 3rd of January. And I couldn't be more tickled with how my little pony did today. Both my horses were good. The whole day today just wasn't a crazy day. It's like overcast but quiet, which I love those days, if I'm being honest. Not a lot of people there, so I had a super great session with Zoe, working on trying to help her understand she could move forward, she could canter in the round pen, she doesn't need to run off. We kind of went from her shooting off, this was a couple weeks ago, just wanting to shoot off, to her she's kind of ping-ponging back and forth, because when I first started to ask her to trot, weeks ago, 5 weeks ago, she got pretty stuck. I had to get pretty big a couple times to get her to trot. Now trotting, and so it took me a month, I'm not gonna try to pretend, to get her to where I felt like when I asked her to trot, there's no animosity or resentment, but there is some clarity and understanding. She doesn't have that little head shake. Not that I have not had that horse trot. I have not asked her to trot more than one lap at a time at any point in the last 6 weeks. She might have gone more than that because she had that feeling in her, but she has not taken more than 3 laps around the arena in a row at any point in the last 6 weeks, because she doesn't, as much as she can hang on to her feelings, she doesn't have to, she doesn't need 20 trips to hang on. She's like, oh, I got tired of that, like on lap 2. She's like, that she needs a short little amount. So but anyway, I was able to work on the little canter spot, which is a place where she's stuck. She's a horse that naturally wants to be stuck going forward, especially if she feels, I don't even think there's a especially in there. She wants to be a little stuck going forward. But I think if I just in fact, I know if I just work on that transition with her a bunch of times and get it really smooth to where she understands it's not going to be a big deal. It's already so much better. Like today, I actually thought she was going to buck, and she didn't. She didn't buck, and she did quit pretty quick, so I had to do it again because she quit pretty quick. But she also, what I liked about today was she didn't turn her butt. She turned her butt to me one time, and then she let it go real fast. She didn't buck. I think she did buck at one point, but it was kind of about something else. It didn't really have anything to do with me. And she let that go so quick. She just felt good when I went to pick her up. She had great energy the whole time of the round pen. She had great energy. We went through for a walk afterwards. She had great energy. I was just super stoked with her round pen work because her ability to find me and hunt me up is getting better. Again, she does have that sticky spot going forward, but it's so much better than it was. She didn't, and there was a moment where I think 2 weeks ago she would have come in pretty hard on me, and she didn't. In fact, she went, and that's something that I'm kind of getting used to, is that Wyatt can when Wyatt's keyed up, he just it can be hard. You'd wish he could come down faster. Once he's kind of gotten keyed up, he can't come down. And Zoe can be super keyed up and then just like go, and then she's like back to 0, and you're like, okay, that's different. And I'd actually kind of like her to not go quite so. I like that she gets better quick, but I don't want her to quit entirely. So that's something we're working on, which I think is confusing for her. But in fact, I know it's confusing for her. She's like, but I just calmed down. Why can't I, why do I have to keep moving my feet? But I know that if I let that become too much of a habit, because she can get a little stuck, she'll become a horse that just uses that as an escape route. And then, because she can tune you out if she's just standing there. She knows she's probably never been hit in her life, thank God, and so she doesn't have any reason to believe that somebody's going to come after her. So it's probably never crossed her mind that could even happen, because it's never happened. And it probably if I have anything to say about it, nobody is ever going after that horse. She could go her whole 30 years of her life and never have. That's my intention. I won't be the one to go after her. If somebody does go after her, they're going to have me to deal with, because I will be the boss mare. They probably won't like that very much. But, she's never going to have another owner, I don't think. So, and worst case scenario, if she did, one of my friends would keep her because she's too nice not to. She's too nice not to keep. Just one of the, I've probably had 2 nice horses in my life, and this is one of them. So anyway, I was super stoked just with how all that went. And aside from all that, her energy just felt good. You know, she didn't have an explosion in her. She didn't have any resentment in her. She felt a little bit put out about having to canter the one way, but it was very small compared to where it's been. She just felt good. And today, if you could tell in the background, it's a little bit kind of like overcast. It's trying to rain right now. It wasn't when I was getting her out. It's not windy, which always helps. But it is a wintry day, and it could have been the type of day where maybe she just wasn't feeling it, and she just came out ready to go do stuff. And at the end, I was actually standing there talking to Mike about something, and he gave her a bunch of carrots, which great. But then this was maybe the coolest moment of the whole thing. I went to leave, and instead of staying with Mike, I walked off, and I made a little kissing sound, or something like that. I made a little noise, and she whirled around. I wish I had caught it on film. This brightness in her eyes. She turns, she looks at me, she brings her front foot with her, and she gets this look in her eye, it was that look you want them to have, like this light brightness in her eyes, this intensity, but not the Baby Shark type of intensity that I would like to maybe tone down Baby Shark. She just get this look in her face, and she wheeled around and she followed me right across the round pen. And I was like, you just left Carrot Man for me? Like, maybe I have something to offer her. She felt that way, and so her and I just had this great little connection today that I valued so much. I have been spending a lot of time with her the last couple of weeks. I've switched up the way, I talked about this in a couple other videos, but I've switched up the way I've been handling her, in that I've been trying to do it in chunks, like 15 minutes here, 20 minutes there. And the other thing that I started doing, so I've been doing, like, instead of like an hour of 20 minutes, 20 minutes, 20 minutes, I've been doing like 45 minutes of 15, 15, 15, or something like that. It's normally more like 10, 15, 10, and then maybe 15 at the end. But it works out to be more like 25 minutes. It kind of depends on, or about 45 minutes. It depends on the day, because, you know, if there's a real good opportunity, like there was one day where there was a good opportunity to just soak in the sun for 10 minutes, and that was what I felt like she needed at that moment. And I curled up to the fence, and I literally sat there on the fence with my baby horse for 10 minutes because I felt like it really helped her. I don't even remember what I did after that, but I've been switching it up more, and yesterday I had a lot of fun with her because she was in a great place. I got her over her first cavallette. She's so cute. At a walk, who cares how fast she was going? Her first little cavallette, and then I got to play with her. I played with her a lot yesterday, which might be why she felt so good about today. And I just played with her. Like, somebody made a comment kind of like I was working with her too much, and I was like, I have been handling her a lot, but I have not been asking or demanding too much. Yesterday I felt like I got a really awesome day because because I had this opportunity. First I took her over the cavalettes, and she liked that, and then I put her away, and I brushed her, put her away, came back a little while later, and I was working in her stall. I had cleaned her stall, and I had a branch I needed to trim because it was a little too low. In fact, I'm pretty sure she hit her head on it the other day, and that's why I was like, she got her head on something a week or so ago, and I couldn't get this one branch because it was too thick, so I had to go get a different pair of clippers. So I cut that branch off. Well, she was pretty interested. I was in there laughing because, you know, most horses Wyatt wouldn't have cared if I was trimming the tree, but some of them that would have been a lot. She's in there like not worried about it at all, kind of curious about what I'm doing. And then she was pretty curious about this branch, you know, that she stood under for however many times. So I just put it on the ground, let her sniff it. And then I was like, okay, and she's loose in her pin. And I was like, all right, I'm just going to see if she'll walk over it. So I just basically called to her and got her to walk over it the first time. And she was really funny. She wanted to paw it a little bit. And I wasn't sure how that was going to go, but she wasn't too worried about it, and then she just walked right on over it. Then I did it again. I got her to walk over it a couple more times. I moved it a little bit so it was in a little easier spot. So that was super cool. I felt like just to have that little moment with her for the first time she could, I mean, it was basically a bushy stick because it had all these little evergreen branches on it. And to get her to be able to walk over something like that, like a lot of horses, that would have really troubled them. And to be able to do it in a way where it was just totally voluntary on her part, nobody forced her to do that. She just got to do it for the first time because it seemed like the thing to do. And granted, she's a more confident-minded horse, and you can get away with those things. You're probably not going to have to force her to do something. She wasn't worried about it to start with. But I was just pretty happy with how that went, and I was pretty stoked. So I was stoked about today too. And I'm going to post a second half to this video in a second.